need to make an agenda amendment and move the old business, under the old business, the hospital contract and update up to 4A. Did I have a motion to do that, please?
I'll make a motion.
Second. All in favor? Thank you. Okay, and then, we'll now move us on. The agenda has been amended to have 4A for hospital update. And then that would lead us to approval of the minutes. Did y'all have a chance to review the minutes this morning, or before this morning? Motion to approve. Does that be both sets of minutes from meeting December the 10th and the 13th? You want to do them one at a time? Okay, December the 10th. Motion to approve the minutes for December 10th. Second. Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, a motion to approve December 13th call meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion.
All right, there's a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Okay. Okay. So that brings us to item number 4, the date fund, and Judge Perkins, welcome and thank you for coming this morning.
Thank y'all for having me. I'll try to be brief. I know there's other things going on today that we need to see about. Judge McLean and I have implemented a drug court for our circuit. We've been working on this about close to a year and a half, maybe not quite. But we're to the point of actually beginning with the counseling part of the drug court. And each county, y'all are probably aware of this. I don't know if the public's aware of this or not, but each county, by statute, is supposed to be holding what we call DATE funds, which is Drug Awareness Training and Education funds. It's specifically set aside for training and education as far as drugs are concerned. We're coming before you to ask for access to at least half of those funds annually. I don't know that they've been spent anything. They can't be spent without your approval. Commissioners have to okay anything that they're expended for, but they can only be expended for education and training, and it's very limited. The county can't use it. I think our courts are definitely qualified to use it. Any other drug awareness training that might be going on in the county, they could be used for that. But what we're trying to do, I'd say, unless you're just blind and dumb, you realize what we've been doing as judges, and I think everywhere, not just here, sentencing these drug people to prison, detention center, and them coming back in 8 to 18 months, they'll send them back. We got the same problem, nothing's changed. They commit offense again, we send them off again, we send them back again. It really is not solving anything. It's costing us all a lot of money, and it's not resolving the situation. These drug courts are an effort to take a different approach and actually treat and help and change and break this cycle that the drug users have been going through, and the courts have been going through, and the taxpayer has been going through. And we've been to some extensive training a couple of months ago that convinced us that this WIS approach will work. It showed us how to do it, the personnel we need to implement it and make it work, from proven courts before that are finding it to be successful. And they've actually come and hands-on taught us how they did it. And that's the model that we're using. That's what we need to do. How with me? Miss June Krahalik, y'all stand up, raise your hand. June is our drug court coordinator. She's been hired the last month or so. And y'all may have contact with her through a lot of this too now, rather than myself or Judge McLean. We're still getting into it all, not know for sure how it all finalized. Cherry Smith is with us. She's a court administrator. You may hear or see from her as this goes along too. We're asking, in an effort to try to break this cycle, we're asking for access to this money that y'all are holding, at least half of it, if we need it. And if we needed more and you're not using it, I'd even ask for more. I don't know how that's gonna work out yet. We're feeling our way along through this, since it's new, and we haven't even had our first session yet. But we're to the point, like I said, we're gonna try to begin our actual sessions March 6th. We're working up to that. And we've laid the groundwork, and we're gonna be ready to go on March 6th. I can't, if y'all were to ask me how much money is this gonna take and so forth, I don't know yet. We got a grant, how much,
106,000.
We got a 106,000 grant from the state to pay counselors and pay for June's position. We'll have to drug test these folks at least twice a week, probably more. We've got a machine a company's offering to give us, or how, we've already agreed on it really. Give us the machine, but we got to buy the supplies from them. So there's all kind of quirks in this we've learned. But in any event, we to the point that we're going to be able to implement this and get started. We're not going to be able to have it about 12 participants per counselor to start with. And we hope we're going to have three counselors. That's the plan right now. We agreeing with behavioral health. We're in the process of finalizing that, where they're going to furnish us the 3 counselors. We're going to pay them funds, portion of the funds, they're going to furnish the counselors. And then we need to increase the counselors. We increase the counselors, we increase the participants, we increase the results. So we're looking to implement this and then increase in size so it'll be more effective and it'll help more people. And the ultimate goal is to relieve county taxpayers the burden of jail costs that they having to keep paying. Or I should say, we having to keep paying. I pay too. That's the end result, as well as breaking this addictive cycle that these people are on. And some of them don't want to get off, but some of them do, and not able to get off. And the ones that we can help, we want to be able to help. We want to break the cycle and free, I guess you could say, society up from this bondage that they're under, having to deal with this all the time, just like the court system is. Ladies, y'all want to say anything? Have I missed anything other than the building? I'll get to that in a second.
The type of people that we're targeting for drug court.
Yeah, this is high risk, high needs. This is just the opposite of what I would have thought before we went to class. I would have thought somebody over here on the fringe of this, just playing with drugs, is the people that we could help and do the most for. But their experience has shown that the hardest core folks, not violent people, non-violent people are who's going to participate. Violent offenders are not qualified. Sex offenders are not qualified. It's just hardcore drug users, but it is the hardcores. They say the term they used for us was high risk, high needs. People that you don't think can get off, you don't think you can help, you don't think would benefit from it. They say are the ones that benefit the most. So that's who we're going to target to start with. That's who's going to be included in these first groups. Our hardest and worst, actually. And that's what we're dealing with. That's where we're headed, deal with these hardest and worst folks. Another point, we want to have each of these sessions. We're going to have one in Cook, one in Berrien, and we want to have one here in Lanier for the other 3 counties, for Atkinson, Clinch, and Lanier, because this is centrally located, really, to the other 2 counties the best. And I'd understood from June, actually she was with the Drug Task Force, and they, I guess, got unfunded, you would say, a few months ago. Then we hired her as drug coordinator, and she said, y'all have. Y'all got other plans, fine, but said that the building they were in, that y'all had redone it, it was a good building, in good shape. We need a building here to have the sessions, to have the counseling, to have the headquarters for the 3 counties here. If y'all got one, if we could use one for the drug program, and it doesn't have to be that building. Anything that you might have available, we would be glad to get use of. And I know nobody's probably thought about that. I hadn't mentioned it but that's another proposal. We'd like to have at least half of the date funds, and we'd like to have a building somewhere if y'all have such that we could use for this.
Would that require pick folks in there all the time, or would it be just
No, I'm
address?
and didn't they say, are they trying to have the counseling at night or during the day and night?
For this county, it would be at night, it would be Monday through Thursday from 6 to 8.
So we don't need access to the building 24 hours a day. It could be in the building y'all are using that we could have access to after hours, so to speak. Something to that effect would be fine. Just have, I don't know, I guess probably a room this size would be all right. Bathroom facilities, that'd be about all, all would be needed.
I mean, either location, wherever would work best for the program, we certainly would be glad to accommodate, because we're all trying to help folks out and save on our jail board, of course.
We all need to be on the same page on this thing, and I think it's gonna work. Now, we wouldn't have gotten this far if I wasn't convinced that it would work. What about us just contacting, this is something we could do after this, but June or I or somebody contact, maybe look at the buildings and see
Which
what we think.
location work the best?
Finalize it with y'all if that would be something to that effect. Okay. Well, I think, you got something else?
For the building, this is just gonna be the group counseling portion of it. They're just gonna meet, and that's where they do all their critical thinking, and it's a behavioral, changing the behavioral. So it'll just be a group session. We just need somewhere where we can have a seat so they can speak and with the counselor and do all their group work there. All their individual counseling and family counseling or any other needs that they need will not be here. It's just a group here. So everything else will be, it could be in Nashville, it could be in Adel, because they actually have buildings.
Hospital. Randy Saul, Hunter News, anyone else?
Thank you. On behalf of the Hospital Authority of Valdosta, Lowndes County, Georgia, I appreciate you giving us the opportunity to speak to you this morning. I do have a Walter H. News, you're on council for the Hospital Authority of Lowndes County, to go through a minor action with you, but also want to make sure that we introduce Doug Music, board member of our Lanier Health Services Board, and our administrator here, Neil Ginty, and of course Randy Patton, our administrator as well. So with that said, we've got one minor matter. I want to let Mr. News walk you through that, if you don't mind.
Nobody wants to speak after the Superior Court judge comes in and takes some money for something he believes in. That's a pretty tough fall. As y'all remember, and as we have discussed, the Board of Directors of LHS Inc., Lanier Health Services Inc., is recommending that they turn the operation of Lewis Smith Hospital over to South Georgia Medical Center, when in fact South Georgia Medical Center has provided management for it since 1995. This is part and parcel of a transaction. As you know, we are committed to replacing the nursing home here, a financial commitment for the hospital authority in the range of $9 to $10 million. To do that, for regulatory reasons and for reimbursement reasons, the hospital authority is going to have to take title to it and operate it. At the same time, in 1995, this board transferred.
I'm sorry, let me interrupt you a second. Whoever's driving the black or blue Tahoe right here, got one of the girls blocked in. Could y'all move that, please? Just a second, swap out, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Nobody ever minds being interrupted by a judge. But in any event, you deeded this commission, or your former members of the commission deeded the hospital to the hospital authority. They turned around and leased it to Lanier Health Services Inc. to operate. There are some restrictions that we cannot, for regulatory reasons, accept, and were contained in the deed. And all we have here is the board of directors is by LHS Inc. is by consensus recommended, and they're going to, as soon as the regulatory authorities approve it, transfer and cancel the lease. And we're going to take direct, hospital authorities are going to take direct operation, and Lanier Health Services will become, Lewis Smith Hospital, or whatever its name is, will become a campus of South Georgia Medical Center, a direct campus. And as some of you may or may not know, we're also in the process of acquiring a hospital in Nashville, Berrien County Hospital, that is anticipated will be through closing debt by the end of February. And there are a number of things we can work together between these two facilities we think will be beneficial to both communities. So we're asking that you adopt the resolution and execute the quick claim deed removing restrictions. I sent a copy to the county attorney on Friday afternoon. I think she's reviewed it and discussed it with you. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
Any questions?
Yes, sir.
It won't affect any employee that's currently working at Lewis Smith Hospital now?
The employees will be offered employment with the hospital authority, whatever entity. Actually, initially, after the transfer, the hospital authority will have to take control of LHS Inc. and operate it like that because of the time lag with the Department of Community Health and the Attorney General's office, that you have to get approvals. So it'll be operated that. No, they'll be, and I don't know whether you know this, but Neil Guinea, who's operated it for years, is actually an employee of the hospital authority. And we don't have to do the due diligence that we have to do, say, in Berrien County. I don't know whether you're aware of Berrien County. The present owners didn't really intend to buy the hospital. They owned a note on it and didn't get paid, and they foreclosed, so they took it just like it was, so we had to be very careful there. The only thing we need to do probably to be careful here is maybe we ought to come in and check behind Neil. I don't know. but Neil is, the current plan is for Neil to be over both of the hospitals. It is the CEO of the hospital, Berrien and Lewis Smith. And what we're asking is that you adopt the resolution that has been presented and that you execute the quick claim deed and deliver it.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, could I make one comment on the hospital resolution? I apologize for getting here a little bit late. If I may.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
As you know, I was a fellow commissioner, and I do apologize for getting here late. And I missed the work session last week because it was in the paper today of the work session. I don't know what the new contract says. I know you guys have a tough job. I've been there. I'm on this side of the fence now, so I just want to make this known before, and you can correct me if I'm wrong concerning the hospital contract. I'm aware of what we had in the contract before, and I will say that Randy's doing a great job with EMS, so is our fire department chief, helping out with EMT.
This hasn't
This
got
is a
anything to
different
do with that
contract.
now.
Is this
No,
nothing to do with
this has
that
got nothing
contract?
to do with that. You're talking about something entirely different.
Okay, I want to make sure that I get a chance to talk about the contract that we were going to sign for the hospital
It's got
for
nothing to
the
do with it.
$7,500 a
It's
month.
got nothing to do with it.
Okay, I want to make sure. Thanks.
Suzanne, you've had a chance to review this resolution, and so
It's fine. I just
everything
need
looks
a
good.
motion.
We just need a motion to accept.
I'll make the motion.
There's a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay, so this is the original.
Yes, sir.
After we execute it, you want me to record it in the big records of Lanier County or send it to you to be recorded?
If you would send it to me,
Okay.
we're not going to record it until we finish the regulatory process. If you would send me a certified copy of the resolution as adopted in the original deed executed. And gentlemen, we want to assure you that the hospital authority looks forward to serving the citizens of Lanier County for a long time in the future.
Sir, thank you very much.
And if we don't have any further business, we excuse me, Mr. Sauls. As interesting as this is, Joint Commission showed up at our hospital this morning at 9 o'clock. Thank y'all.
Thank you. All right, that brings us to item 5, which has our department reports, and first would be the fire department.
I think your next about,
I'm sorry?
we were B, we were moved to 4B. Is that wrong?
But I do need to make one, we did not delete number 12 out of old business, that's still there. 4A was strictly for the new business regarding the hospital authority.
Okay, got an extensive report today due to the fact I had to leave early last month for a court summons for arson cases I had going. Some questions got answered, I got asked, and I'm gonna try to answer them today. We're gonna start with activities for December. Fire department answered 24 calls, 4 of the 24 were EMS. The county had 16 of the 24, and 9 of the 16 paid. I put the county's pay for the month at $1,300 even dollars. Okay, the inspection was run up last month, and I was able to get that done about a week after the meeting there, finally. Give you a report on what we came up with on that. West Side Engine 11, this was its first inspection since we put it in service, and it had no issues. Lakeland, Engine 1, Engine 2, no issues. Tanker 3 in Lakeland had a loose air line, which was basically just tighten up the fitting on the airlines on it. Stockton Fire Department, Engine 8, Truck 4, no issues. Tanker 7 in Stockton, rear brakes down to 50%. At the current rate of use, he suggested they be replaced within the next 5 to 8 years. Mud Creek Fire Department, Tanker 13, left front tire, low tread. I was able to take 2 of the rear tires on that truck, which were practically new, move them to the front, and bought 2 what they call a re-groove tire and put on the rear of that truck. So saved a pretty good bit of money by doing it that way, but that corrected that problem. And then the last would be Teeterville, Engine 9, also first inspection, truck hadn't been in service but about 2 weeks, had a faulty brake light switch. Brake lights didn't work every time. I reiterate that the fire department and the firemen are responsible for lights, tires, and fluids. But they hadn't inspected that truck either. That's why they didn't catch that either. So, also truck 6 at Teeterville.
You saying the local chiefs are responsible for what again?
All your firemen in each station are responsible for fluids, tires, and lights.
Okay.
That's their job. You can't depend on a 1-year inspection to keep that in order. So that's why they didn't catch the brake lights not working on the truck, because they hadn't even inspected it yet. Because it only been a couple of weeks. They do the inspection once a month. Truck 6 showed signs of the rear wheel cylinder leaking on it. I questioned the fireman about that because the fluids, of course, is their responsibility. He said they knew the truck had been leaking, but it was so minor that they were just simply adding fluid to the reservoir. They wasn't using enough to even mention. But being it was leaking and showing signs, I carried it to the shop, being repaired. So that takes care of all the DOT inspections. Just minor stuff on a couple of 3 vehicles here, already been taken care of. Okay. I understand that Westside Stockton complained about being able to talk on the radio. I contacted Scott Hughes with RCE Communications and talked to him. Options on that. First option is to raise the tower. We've done raise the tower once to the maximum 200 feet allowed by the FCC, unless you go into a lot more money and difficulty. Tower cannot be raised anymore in its present location due to guy wire restrictions. So it would have to be moved to another location if you want to go that way. And you know the expense of moving and setting up a tower. So I said, all right, what's the next option? Next option, another tower located in the Stockton area. You're talking another 200-foot tower could be placed at the station down there, with another repeater system. He estimated the cost of that between $50,000 and $60,000. And I would remind you that that is 2/3 of my entire yearly budget, $60,000. Third option, about the only thing that we can do for any money that might be within budget right now, the radios they're trying to talk on are the handhelds. They got a little antenna about that long. I can get an antenna for that radio that comes up and is supposed to help it. I'm supposed to get one from him and try it and just see how much better it'll be before we spend it. It'll cost $25 per radio to upgrade. And if it works, if I think it's gonna be worth the money, then I'll move forward on the 25 and get new antennas. But if it ain't gonna make that much difference, I'm not gonna mess with it. So, that's about all we can do unless we're gonna spend a lot of money. And if we do a tower in Stockton, that's not gonna help West Side. That's not gonna help the north end of the county. It's just gonna help Stockton.
The new antenna you're talking about, is that?
That's a new tower. You see the tower at the fire station? The antenna, little antenna, no, it's a little short antenna, we're gonna talk about radio, just unscrew it, screw it.
You're saying upgrade that
I
antenna?
can upgrade that to $25 on each radio. But I don't know how much it'll help. You know, I'm gonna take my radio and go down to Stockton, call dispatch, get my report, then I'm gonna unscrew it, screw the new one on, and call them back and say, can you hear me any better? You know, that's all I can do, and if it's a lot better, then I'll move forward, we'll buy some of those antennas and fix that problem. You know, because I mean, as far as I'm concerned, you know, we don't have $60,000 to put up a tower, and then that's not gonna help everybody. The only thing that'll help everybody.
How much is just a repeater, not the tower?
I don't know how much just the repeater is. I got to clue, you've got to get a new FCC license to get a new repeater. That'll have to be done, plus the repeater purchase, and then somewhere to put it. And I said, you know, they put it in the station down there. They said, you're gonna need a tower, and then we talked about the tower. He said, well, if you don't put up a 200-foot tower, you're wasting your time. So, because I was thinking putting an antenna on top of the siren down there, which is 65 feet. And he said, may help, don't know. You know, he said, you really need a 200-foot tower, you're gonna bottle. So, that was the issue, and he said, that's still not gonna help the rest of them, that's just gonna help them, you know, repeating it back. But the only thing that would help everybody is to raise the tower in town. It's centrally located, but you can't raise it where it's sitting. You don't have to move it somewhere, we've got a bigger field, we can get the guy wires further out. It's already at its maximum right where it's at, so you've got to look at the expense of that. But anyhow, I'll move forward, I'm trying to get the radios working a little better. Last thing was, questions about dispatch, calling Lakeland Department for stuff or other counties or other departments. Right here is a 911 protocol that I typed up and 911 center went online, ever how many years ago that was. This protocol is devised in daytime and nighttime priority. And the reason being, we're a 100% volunteer fire department, which means firemen have a job during the day and will not be around. So in daytime, you've got to have a different protocol than nighttime when everybody's at home. So I gave this to the 911 center years ago, and it basically tells them everything to do. And to give you an idea of what goes on, like right here, daytime calls on automobile fire, or vehicle fire. It tells them to page the local department and then page the Lakeland department for backup. Because you're liable to page Stockton and not get one person. So you page Lakeland, because Lakeland has a bigger clientele of people, and you're liable to get 2 or 3 extras, you know. But you go right down to nighttime calls, same automobile fire, simply says page the local department and keep paging every 2 minutes till someone responds. Don't say anything about Lakeland. I can put this out there, and it's been out there all this time, but I cannot make them people do it. I have no control of the 911 center. All I can do is say, hey, I call them every now and then, I say, recirculate the protocol. They're not following. And Ramona would do it. She said, I'll get it out and recirculate it, make them read it again. But I can't make them do this. Now, they call Lakeland sometimes, and I tell my guys, I just try to tell my guys, I said, look, If it's after 7 o'clock at night and they call Lakeland to go to a grass fire and stop, then don't go. There's 10 firemen down there and 3 trucks. If they can't handle a grass fire, so be it. But we don't need to run down there for that kind of, and I just told my fireman, I said, I know they're gonna page us, but just don't go. And there's been a couple of times, I caught my truck leaving, and I called them and said, nope, stand by the station. We turn around and go back. But they just, I can't control it. All they do is this, and I'll give Donna that. You can make copies and give them all one if they want one. But basically, that's all we do as far as, if I'm around and can, I control it myself. I'll call dispatch and say, go ahead and cancel Lakeland. We don't need to go to that. Just let them handle it. But then again, you don't know who's gonna show up, You don't know how many firemen or whatever. But I think that was all the questions that got raised last month, and I wanted to address all of those. Any questions on the inspections or anything like that? All the DOT inspections are up to date. All right, thank you.
Gary, have you heard anything about the trucks with Buck,
The which one?
the trucks that Buck's trying to get Lincoln?
Oh, no, he hasn't said anything to me. I keep asking him when I see him, the forestry units. They said they were screening, but they hadn't called me for it. Yeah, so I really don't know.
Here, I have one question before we leave. You say that at Stockton, we've got a 200-foot tower down there?
You would have to put one up.
There's not one there now. How tall is the one that's there now? The one that's there now, how tall is it?
The one in town? Oh, but you don't mean to stop? I didn't know there was one in stop. I mean, there's not a fire department tower.
You're talking about the 65-foot tower, the siren?
No, you're talking about the one the siren's on. It's actually just a light pole is what it is. It's not a tower. It's just a light pole holding the siren. That was 60. It was a 65-foot pole, but it was buried in the ground, so it's really only 53 feet tall, roughly. So it's not. I told him, I said, hey, we got a siren pole down there, and he said, it's not gonna help that much. It ain't tall enough. He said, if you make it the best, you need to go at least 150 foot. He said 200 is better, which is why we raised this tower from 150 to 200. But 200 is the maximum for FCC. When you get over 200, it's a whole different, you have to get a whole different license and a permit, and it has to be, have to have strobe lighting on it, all kind of stuff different. This one down here, we did put a red light on it due to we have a helipad nearby, but firemen paid for that themselves to do it. It was not required, but 200 feet is a maximum for that, so.
Gary, couldn't put a repeater on any cell tower or anything like that?
Well, yeah, if rent space, you have to rent space on them cell towers. So you're looking at paying that from now on to do something like that. Down there, I know there's a cell tower down there, right?
There's two.
So you could put one on that down there, but you're still not helping the west side, and you're still not helping.
Well, there's a cell tower over there.
Is that cell tower in here, west side here? So you're looking at, if y'all wanna check into the monthly expense of renting tower space, you still got repeaters to buy. And I don't know how many repeaters you could put in the county and make work. He had to think a lot to make 2 repeaters work with each other, be compatible. So it would all compat with the system. You can't just stick a repeater everywhere you want to. Undoubtedly, it don't work that way. I don't know about that. That's why I call him, he's a communications guy. But you would have to have a new license for every repeater. Every repeater has to have a license. So you're looking at.
Renewed annually, I suppose.
Yep, you're looking at calling the FCC and trying to get a new license for it and stuff like that.
I'll touch on something that might, use that word real carefully, might work. We had trouble if we're at Stockton or something with a car wreck, and we grab our walkie-talkie and try to talk, we can't talk. The same gentleman that Gary's talking to, Scott, said there's a repeater that's available to go in the vehicle. So my walkie-talkie talks to the vehicle, and the vehicle talks to the 911 center. It might work if we put one of those in the station and just wired it on the inverter. So we just had a rack pack at Stockton and a rack pack at, that's what they call it, a rack pack, at West Side. Because that's the trouble, is the walkie-talkies. If the walkie-talkie will talk to the station, let the station talk back to to the 911 center. Use it just like I was using it in the truck. Now, it may not be legal, I don't know, but.
I don't think your walkie-talkie will get to the station and then back out. I think that's strictly for vehicle, because your vehicle radio is a lot stronger. You got the antenna up on top of it, and you don't have any trouble talking from your vehicle. It's these little handheld radios. So I know the rat pack he's talking about. You put it in your vehicle, and if you're way away from the vehicle, you can talk to the vehicle, and let the vehicle talk to you. That's what it does. It uses your vehicle radio to contact. Yeah. So that's what it's doing. And you don't have any trouble in the vehicle. I mean, if you're down there and you need to really talk, you're going to get in the truck, no problem. This is handheld. Now, a lot of times, a lot of people want to grab their handheld and talk like this. If you turn that handheld up, make sure that antenna's straight up and hold it up like this and kind of show it to you, it's a lot of difference. So, one thing is how you talk it, that I understand a question that was raised last month, that I possibly had a booster on my truck. But, because I'll go to the west side, I don't find any problems out there. But I talk on the same radio they do. There's no difference in that. I don't got a booster. Same handheld radio they're using. As a matter of fact, my antenna's shorter. I got a short, snubby antenna now. But I go out there and I go all the way to on Smith Road where it hits 125, and I hold my radio straight up because it's fast and I get it. I don't have a problem. I don't know what's going on out there. I understand stopping way down there. That's a, 12, 14 mile trip down there.
That radio won't work on thick then.
So I understand that, way down there, but I don't see why West Side's having a problem. I always, but still, I'm gonna get the antenna, and if it works better, I'll get everybody one of those antennas for their handheld, and that'll help some. I know the rat pack he's talking about, it talks to your truck talks to this one for you. It uses your truck there. But you go to the truck and pick up the microphone and talk, without no problems either way. It's kind of like a convenience thing. They come up with those for law enforcement when they jump out and run a suspect down, they're away from the car, and they talk back to the car and let the car talk, stuff like that. Anyhow,
Let me clarify what problem we have in most of it. I have gone all the way to the Eccles County line with my handheld, and it talks good in fair, clear weather. But if it starts getting cloudy, and the worse the weather it is, and it finally get to the point at the station in Stockton, you can hardly understand any traffic on even a truck. So that's our main problem, is when we having foul weather, and a lot of times we get called out on foul weather. And I hate to get out there with a truck and you can't communicate very well, and they can't understand what you're saying, and you can't understand what they're saying. That's our biggest problem. On a good, clear day, we can talk anywhere down there on a handheld. But every day ain't good, clear day. That's the main biggest problem we have, and I just want to clarify the problem we have.
that would just be the rare occasion of bad weather, and you'd be in Eccles County line.
Yeah, but,
That,
well, I'm talking
That's
about
called, I heard,
on a cloudy day,
that
it
part
starts getting worse,
been a while, so you just got to,
Will the truck radios work? They'll still work on cloudy days?
oh yeah.
on a cloudy day, but if it's storming, like a storm comes through and they try to pay just out, the papers will go off. I don't know why, they'll go off still.
Carrie, are you required to be P25 compliant this year? Are you required to be P25 compliant?
I haven't heard anything about it. Nobody's notified me about it.
Does the commission know? We went ahead with the sheriff's office and did that, back when we got the grant. Took about $120,000 getting your radios to get P25 compliant. But you can't talk back to the car as long as you're within a quarter mile of the car and get out, talk anywhere you want to talk. But it is a $120,000 investment.
Right. This problem can be fixed if you'll throw money at it. But the problem is we can't throw money at it.
Right.
I mean, I'm on a minimum budget as it is. Matter of fact, I was 0.1% over my budget last month. I'm not real happy about that. But I just don't have the money to throw at it. The county don't have the money to throw at it. You throw enough money out there, we talk to Europe.
Right. Well, they didn't have it.
We're trying to fix something here without making people's taxes go up. But we're trying to keep firemen safe at the same time and where they can talk. So I'm just doing the best I can with what I've been allowed to do with, you know what I mean? So,
I guess what we need to do is just keep exploring what's out there and come up with some kind of answer.
It aggravates me when I'm over the budget, and I try not to go that route. I don't do that at home, and I'm not gonna do that with taxpayers' money. So,
Alex, if it fixes the radios, we use the same channel, EMS and fire departments on the same frequency. If it would work and you would allow it, use some of my budget to fix the radios, which helps EMS.
That'll probably,
I'm just making that offer, because what helps the fire department with the radios helps us.
if I come up with anything new, I'll let you know.
thank you. Bob, you got a road department report?
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Basically, just keeping these roads maintained, the outfall is cleaned out. We've had issues with the ditch because it was dry, but the guys got back on those. Had some issue with the new graders, but we got the bugs worked out of those. The valve, the floater valve they put in there for whatever reason, but we got that straightened out. They came last week and solved that issue. Had a few beaver dams in the county we worked on, and replaced some of the pipe we needed in the county. We still have a few more to do. Also, we got with Gary, the fire chief, on the issue on Johnson Road, for putting another fire station down there. We're gonna help him and have him for started on it last week. I'm getting it ready so we can do something with that job down there for put another station on the southeast end of the county, the southwest end of the county. And other than that, everything pretty much is going with the flow of things going on right now. Unless anybody has any questions about anything.
Are we close to having a lease worked out there on that spot, or not yet?
Not yet, we need to get, I guess with Suzanne, let it draw up a 99-year lease type, $1 deal. That's what I talked to Ben Copeland about. Said that's what we do, instead of them giving us the land, just lease it like that way.
Right.
Save all the aggravation. We just went down, and I think we got a 50 by 100 lot.
But you need some kind of legal, or we need a survey, I guess.
Right. Well, whatever the legal thing to do, we just basically went in the middle of a spot here that was almost unusable land. We're gonna have to build up a little bit.
Right.
But he just said, put it right there, so that's what we're doing.
That's where it's cleared right off 135 to the left there.
Yep, right as you turn off 135 onto Johnson, right there at Seven Rocks, go about 200 feet. It's on the left right there. We're gonna move that ramp and put it right up in. We're gonna just build it's just gonna be a single bay building, the house and truck, nothing, we won't have a bathroom and all that stuff, and just a building. And we'll just build the building up for the truck to sit right there and come right in off the road, so. Because it's a county road, and he can back in off of that road if he has
Okay. John, you got a report on animal control?
In December, because of Christmas, just the first 18 days, the rest of it will be on in January. The first 18 days of December, we had 32 trips and picked up 7 dogs.
Anybody have questions? Randy, EMS?
All right, good morning. For the month of December, we answered 122 EMS calls. Of those, we transported 81 patients. 78 of the calls were in Lakeland, 6 were in Teeterville, 10 in Mud Creek, 10 in West Side, and 17 in Stockton. We were assisted by other counties 6 times, and we assisted other counties once. So for the year, that put us calling assistance 99 times, and we assisted other counties 33 times. We transported 22 patients from Lewis Smith Hospital to SGMC. And I've got a new report that I was asked to do for SGMC with a strategic business plan that gives you the average response time. One of our goals for Lanier County is to have a response time of 8 minutes or less, and that's an average response time. So we broke that down. In Lakeland, we have an average response time of 4 minutes and 42 seconds. Teeterville is 11 minutes and 36 seconds. Mud Creek is 9 minutes and 30 seconds. West Side is 7 minutes, and Stockton's 10 minutes and 51 seconds. When you take all the calls and average all together, we are within the 8-minute response time for Lanier County. A lot of times what I've heard that is if we're at SGMC and we get a call and it takes 20-25 minutes to drive back from SGMC, it really kills our average response time. But we are trying to look at that and be within the goal we set of 8 minutes, and that is a state required goal. That's what an EMS should do, is have an average response time of 8 minutes or less. So, with that being said, and the reports being given, speaking on budgets, the $90,000 that you have budgeted Lanier EMS, in my opinion, should be spent on things that's gonna help us help you, such as the radios, equipment, and supplies. Things like that, that's not really a burden to the hospital. The hospital pays for what the state requires us to have, and that's rightfully so. But the budget from you is going on things such as education, buying the books for the EMT classes, $1,000 a month on fuel. The radio situation, if we can use some money on it to help the fire department, it still helps us. Things like that is where that money is being spent on. And I try to spend it, as Gary says, spend it like it's my own. Well, it is my own. Tax dollars is our money. And it's just, you have accountability of where the money goes. I've asked Donna a couple of times for a check for the hospital for the fuel, and it's kind of still in limbo whether we're still doing that or not doing that, so I haven't got a check for fuel this year. But those kind of things, I'd like to know how to spend your money and to spend it to the best of what you're accountable for. It's your money. And that being said, if I can get a county fuel check for the hospital, that's fine. If whatever we need to do on the budget for the money, let's get it going and get it rolling. I'm starting my new EMT class next Tuesday. Wiregrass was going to sponsor that class. It turned out to where there was too much complication with Wiregrass, because they have an accredited side of EMS and they were trying to do a non-accredited class. Everybody was wanting it to work really bad, but it just didn't. So the state gave me a grant that we applied for, which is a better deal for everybody, because the state pays more money. They pay for the books, they pay each student when you graduate a jump bag. It's the same grant that I had for first responders a few years ago, but I explained to them the process of what Wiregrass was trying to do, and the state approved me to do an EMT class instead of first responder class with this grant. So all that's in the works. Hopefully we're gonna start on it this coming Tuesday. So it was ready to go with Wiregrass for last Tuesday, but we just had some problems with their administrative things with accreditation and non-accreditation. All the intent was there, and it was supposed to go real good, and they tried really hard to make it go good. There was no problem with anybody. It just didn't fit quite right with them. So we're gonna take that money Mr. Copeland worked on trying to get it for Lanier County and use it on other things that will help Lanier County that Wiregrass can do with less complication on the accreditation parts. I don't understand a lot of school talk, but it just was a conflict with the accreditation of the school for me to do the class with them.
We had put the spending on hold while we were discussing the contract, so y'all just forward it.
Yeah, the whole thing, we gotta get the contract ironed out before we know what we need to be doing. Yeah, we gotta have fuel. We've been writing those checks, so that ain't, we can do the fuel checks. Mr. Norwood on Parks and Recreation.
Good morning. Activities of the Recreation Department in December were basketball, preparation for the upcoming.
After citizens' comments, we're gonna go back in executive and finish up. Discuss, you have a scheduled public hearing for 10:30 this
Yes,
morning?
sir. I've got a public hearing scheduled for Amazon Enterprises LLC
wanting to rezone 2 acres of land on the corner of the intersection of Highway 122 and Boyd Road. They're wanting to rezone it to RC, which is rural commercial. It is now AU, which is agriculture. The owner of the land is the one that made the application. Planning Commission met on the 27th of December. They reviewed the plat and application and all. Unanimously voted to approve the request to rezone the 2-acre tract located at the intersection of south right-of-way of 122 and the west right-of-way of Boyd Road from AU to RC. Members present were Mr. Gary Mathis, Chairman, Mr. Dennis Fender, Co-Chairman, and John Owens. Gary made the motion to approve the request, John seconded, all were in favor. And at this meeting also, Mr. Fender turned in his resignation, which he will have to come off the Planning Commission board since he now is a county commissioner. Just need the commission approval to, or denial on the rezone.
There's any conflict for me, you know, on the planning commission now.
You just need to abstain from voting at all on this.
So everything's been advertised, and
Everything's been advertised.
the commission made the recommendation, so
The planning commission made a recommendation to approve it. I've got it, and it's signed by the chairman.
and that was changing the zoning from what?
From changing the zoning from AU, which is agriculture use, to RC, which is rural commercial.
Okay. Is there a motion?
Everything between
Everything's fine.
I'll make the motion.
Make a motion to rezone, is there a second? Second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Need to show that
Dennis.
Dennis abstained.
Is that it for the public hearing?
Yes, sir. The only other thing that I have to bring for on this deal would be replacing Mr. Fender.
Okay, for the public hearing.
Okay, that's not, no, I was gonna say, that's not part of the first hearing, but we did not have the 2 people that sent something in.
Right, we're not gonna
Okay,
bring
okay, I'm
it
sorry.
today. We're gonna come back to that. Okay, so we need to go back to regular.
Make the motion.
Alright. Okay, what's that bring us to next? Old business under lost, we really,
We have a hearing date set for February the 20th.
wow, okay, we do have some news there.
That came in late Friday. The judge has scheduled 2 counties which are close together so he can stay down in South Georgia. So
Did you say that was a Friday? Okay.
I don't know if it's a Friday.
Oh, okay.
February, he told us late Friday afternoon. The
Okay.
judge told us when it was going to be. So February the 20th.
That'll be at the courthouse? Okay.
The 20th on Wednesday.
You'll rule that thing?
Is he gonna rule that night? I
Just
have
here.
no idea. I don't know. Probably an all-day hearing. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Then next brings us to, old business, which is, the library board and, remind me of Kelly Lynn.
Kelly Lenz, Lenz.
Okay, welcome. I know
Thank you.
you were scheduled to be here previously and
I messed up.
Anyway, we messed up. So
Sorry about that.
that's okay. You want to speak to the board this morning, or you just,
I'd like to speak first, if that's okay.
I'll go after her.
okay.
First of all, I'd like to welcome Mr. Green and Mr. Fender. I've been before the board before, but you're new, and we're so proud that you would take the job, the hard job, and we appreciate you. At one of the previous meetings, I requested to get Boy Scouts to clean the building. You know, we've had a lot, it needed pressure washing from, some years of not being able to do that. So, we did that, and we, cleaned the yards and all of that, and drain, put in a little ditch to keep the water from backing up where the unloading dock is. And, I wanted to make another request. Oh, and I planted a tree. That was in the minutes, that I got donated. But I wanted to make another request. I'm president of the regional Master Gardeners program, and I want to take on the burden, it's not really a bad burden, but the responsibility of trimming the crepe myrtles each year that are on the property, rather than there being cut straight across, and that shortens the life of the tree. I would like to let Lynn Roberts, who works with me some on my farm, go up there and do the proper trimming so that we can fly flags that don't get tattered and torn and things like that. But I would just like to take over that job and see about that each year. And until I come before you again and say I can no longer do it for whatever reason.
You're volunteering to help us there.
Right.
Okay, all right, thank you.
And then Chris Johnson, of course, Boy Scout leader, who, is within my work, I asked him to go on the roof, and there were even dog fennels growing up there from leaves that had decomposed and formed, formed dirt. So we had dogwoods up there, dog fennels. But what he found is that the water drains had been blocked for some time, so he cleaned all of those out, and he cleaned the entire top of the building too. But I asked him, since that's a flat roof, is there anything, that is, wrong with it? We know how they deteriorate pretty fast. And he said that there were cracks in that roof that will get a lot worse and make the life of the roof much shorter, of course. So he recommended that perhaps you all would like to get whomever you wish to evaluate that roof. But he would recommend that that a sealant be put on it to prolong the life of it. And then also around the top edge of the building, there's some problems with that. Getting very, very thin, and in some places having no paint, and that's going to cause some problems too. So that job would not be as expensive as it could be in the future that we're done now. So hopefully, that would be an inexpensive job.
We'll get Albert, if you will, check on, get somebody to look at that, please.
All right.
And would you remind us, the current library board
Yes.
is who?
All right. There's myself and Tara
And
Terrell.
you give me who appointed who?
Yes. Myself and Tara Terrell. You remember, she's over at the central office. We represent the school board. And then the city representatives are Nancy Pafford, who lives here again, and I'm sorry, I'm tired.
Mr. Davis.
Yes, Ms. Nanette Davis, and she's retired teacher, from primary school. So we've got a great board. Right now, we have just enough of a quorum, so we really would appreciate your two, representatives. Okay.
All right, thank you. And Ms. Lentz?
Hello, everyone. I don't believe I know you all, but I'm Kelly Lentz, the director of the South Central Regional Library System. And I would just like to say that we really need board members that are going to be good board members and have the best interest of this community at heart and of the library. And I would just like to say that I know that the two names that Ms. McCree has put forward are very good citizens and would be a real asset to our board. And I would just like to say that I think the citizens of Lanier County deserve great representation and someone to represent them that's going to do a good job on the board.
And those two applicants, or we got two written responses for the ads, and I'm aware of, and they tell me who they were again.
Michael Sarasota and Loretta Charles Jordan. She's written some of the history books that we have down at the museum, and also she grew up here. She's Maddie McEady's granddaughter, if you remember. and, she substitutes at the high school a lot. And then, you all know Michael, pastor of Lovejoy, and he's very involved in many community efforts. They're both wonderful people.
And then I don't know if y'all were aware of, of course, Pete and Carol Moore came to our last meeting, and they asked to be considered as well. So, anything else?
I would like to say that they did cause some disruptions at our last meeting, and kind of, we were not able to continue our business at the board meeting. They kept interrupting and speaking out of turn and talking over me and the other board members. So it was very disruptive, and it's going to be difficult to do the business of the library with them if they continue to be on the board.
Of course, I mean, we don't have anyone representing the county at this time. So,
Right.
okay. All right. Anybody got
Any questions for me?
Your next library board meeting's when, today at 5?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
You meet once a quarter?
We do.
Anybody? All right, and under library book, thank you, Steve.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank y'all.
Mr. Petermore did ask to speak today here, so Mr. Moore.
Yes, sir. Let me just say that Ms. Lynn's interpretation of the last board meeting is not mine. I did not, there were no disruptions, the meeting went smoothly, we just asked some questions. I would just say that I'm highly qualified, I have a master's in education, I have a master's in library and information science. I've been a teacher for 15 years. And the people on the library board are very good, but there's very little diversity. I mean, it's virtually all people who live or have lived in Lanier County all their lives. Virtually everyone on the board has a connection to education, myself included, and has been employed by the school system. So there's a pretty uniform perspective on the board that may make it difficult to branch out to try new things. If I could, I know one other person who has also applied. Her name is Kathy Evans. She would be an excellent addition to the board. She's got a medical background. She uses the library extensively, both herself and she's got grandchildren. She's served on a number of boards. So that's another person who might have a alternative perspective. Because let's face it, the people who are now on the people who are now being appointed to the board are basically the same group of people that
Well, we appreciate your opinion, but I mean, there's 3 different groups electing that board, and I mean,
Okay.
Everybody's got their.
We don't have
We only have 2 at this time.
Okay.
Well, but we appreciate.
Actually, we
your
don't
opinion.
have 2 people over right
No,
now.
I'm saying we have 2 to appoint.
Yeah.
All right, any questions or more?
Anything one? Do you think it's a negative aspect for someone living in the county all of their life to be on the board?
not at all, but there is a lot of growth in this county. The county has doubled in population about the last 10 years. You had a lot of people from Moody Air Force Base. I'm just saying it might be a good idea to have someone who has a alternative, a slightly different point of view. Not to be disruptive, but just to be able to look at things from a different perspective and provide different ideas. Libraries are in a state of flux.